I am Captain Lee. I am a member of the Peace Galactical Empire. I am to meet with other members of the Peace Galactical Empire on planet Uridium. We are to decide the fate of Earth, as it seems they found us. We made a choice to alternate our reality years past, to shield Earth, but it seems we have failed. My hope is that my message gets to you in time, from our previous reality. I have sent my only child to find you, my daughter. When she finds you, you both must find all other life forms on Earth and unite us all. You must awaken humanity's consciousness prior alternating our reality. We were never ready when they arrived, and we paid the price. The last of us who are fighting are strong, but for how long, I do not know. Find all 12 factions and unite us all before it is too late. Our hopes and dreams rest with you and my daughter. Captain Lee, out. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Scifi Visual Effects. Thank you for checking the channel out. This tutorial is dedicated to those of you who personally messaged me and wanted to see how I created the first 3 scenes of tutorial number 3. This tutorial is for you. I hope you find it helpful to help you create your own visions as well. For those of you who are new to my channel, it is a visual effects channel, so if you find my content helpful to you guys or just looking pretty cool, you guys know what to do. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me create more contents like this for you guys as many times as I possibly can on a weekly basis. That being said, there are 4 things we have to download before we can get started. The first is the City Sci-Fi Pack from Video Copilot that was created by members who are fans of Video Copilot's creations of Element 3D, so on and so forth. Download those, click the link, get it done. The second one are 2 ships from CG Trader from an amazing modeling artist named CG Pitbull, who creates 3D models for games. He left 2 free ships for us to use as we see fit. Very cool. Download that, click the link, make it happen. The third one is a texture and a bump map for a planet that we're going to be using, and we need those to make that planet look as realistic as best as possible. Click on the link, download that from my personal Dropbox to all of you guys. VC Color Vibrance is the 4th thing that we need to download from the Video Copilot website. This is something that Andrew Kramer and his team created for us to use. It's free. Click on the link, download it. When you guys are done with that, let's move forward. Alright, I hope you guys were able to download those 4 things. And now let's go ahead and go to our composition tab. Let's create a new composition. Let's call it Scenes 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna keep it at 1080p, 24 frames per second. Click enter. Fantastic. Now let's go down to layer. We're gonna create a new solid, and we're gonna call this solid scene 1. Keep it 1080p, leave it just the way it is. And I want you guys to go down to effects. I want you guys to go down to generate, not generate, noise and grain, I'm sorry. Go down to fractal noise. And this is where we are now. I want you guys to go down to contrast. I want you guys to crank it up to about 350 or so. Take the brightness to about 45 or so. And the next step is I want you guys to come here to our effects and presets tab. I want you guys to click in polar. Type in polar. Once it's there, click on polar, drag it to our scene here. I want you guys to move this to rect to polar. I want you guys to crank it up to 100%. Now we have this sphere effect. It's a great start. It's what it's supposed to look like, so don't freak out. Now we're gonna go back to our effects and presets, and I want you guys to type in optics. Once you guys are there, grab the optics compensation, throw it in our scene 1 here. I want you guys to click on reverse lens distortion. I want you guys to go up here to field of view and type in 120. Already, just like that, we already have created that look of a warp scene. And so to make this even more looking like a warp scene, we're gonna crank up a field of view and give it that effect, okay? And as you can see, we are now having that effect of a warp scene, and that's exactly what we want to do. This is the very first part of creating this warp effect. Now we're gonna move down to our complexity and our transform. Now these are the things we're gonna be using the most: evolution, complexity, and transform. You might not need complexity, but you can doodle with that too if you guys want. Now what I want to do is change the scale really quick. So I want to make the scale a little bit larger for this, and I'm actually going to give it more light. There you go. And I'm gonna leave the complexity where it's at, okay? And this is a good start to what we are trying to do. Now let's give it that effect that this whole thing is coming toward the camera. In order to do that, we have to go down to, we're already down to transform, so that's fantastic. Offset turbulence, okay? So let me give you a gist of it. Now you can see it, right? That's exactly what we're trying to do here. So let's go back here, let's click 0, let's create a new keyframe, let's take it to about 1 minute, and then I want you guys to go to the second part and type in 10,000. Once you do that, oh, was it 10,000? 10,000, yes. Once you do that, it should give you this effect right here, just like that, okay? And if you're like, oh, this is way too much, we have way too much with, which I think we have way too much for me, I'm gonna just take it back down to maybe 35. That looks much better, okay? So there you go. We have the effect of a warp scene coming toward us, and that's exactly what we want. Now what we're trying to do is we're gonna be duplicating this about 2 times and create a different version of it to give it more of depth. So let's go and click Control and D for Windows, and what we're gonna do now is doodle with this. Do we want more? Do we want less? I'm actually gonna crank it up a little bit more, and I'm gonna go down to transform, scale, take it down to about 35 because I really like those tiny versions here. I'm gonna go down to my evolution and give it a different look so it doesn't look like the first one. Then that looks pretty cool. Now same thing, what you guys can also do is come here to the optic compensation, and you guys can change that more or less, okay? It's really up to you guys, but I'm gonna let me see, this one was at 154. I'll take this one to about 160, like that, just to see what it looks like. And it might look pretty cool, it might look kind of weird, so I think that's too much. Just keep it like that. 157, 154 here, not much of a difference in numbers, but it's a huge difference in how it looks. All right, let's do Control D, and let's see. Do we want to go less or do we want to go more? I'd say let's go more, but there you go. Let's go like that. And you might be asking yourself, oh, well, it looks like it's just changing the other things, and you're right, because I made a mistake, and my mistake was I did not make these all screen. All right, so let's go and do that right now. Once again, guys, I will always leave my mistakes unedited because I want you guys to understand that when you're trying to create something very cool, you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. It's just the way it is. It is just the way it is, and you just have to get used to it, because it's our job to go back down and to fix, adjust, recreate to make sure it fits our vision. All right, so now I have to go back down and do fix what didn't work. Okay, these were my tiny ones. All right, I'm gonna keep it like that. This looks great. This looks great. What do I want to do with this? Let's crank it up a little bit. I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna go down to my transform, and what do I want to do? Do I want to crank it up? No, I want to take it as low as I possibly can. Let's do 10. Boom, just like that. Looking pretty cool already, looking pretty cool. I'm gonna make it, there you go in different directions just like that. And now let's look what we have. Looks pretty cool, looks pretty cool. All right, the next step is to put some colors into this. So let's go under our video Copilot tab. Let's go down to VC color vibrance, and what I want to do is I want to give it like a I would say, yeah, this color is what I want to go, kind of like a bluish light but not too dark. And what we're going to do is go back to our video Copilot's VC color vibrance, and we're going to give this a purple look. There you go, just like that. Looking cool, looking cool. All right, and this next one, I don't know, maybe a red, but let's see what that's gonna look like if it's red. Might look weird if it's red. That's not bad actually. So how about more of a lighter purple? All right, there you go. Very, very, very cool looking. All right, let's quickly go through this. Yep, that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty satisfied. Okay, the next step is to put a flare in the middle. If you guys don't have optical flares from Video Copilot, then you guys can use the flares that came with After Effects, but not the greatest. Honest truth, it's not the greatest. And once again, if Adobe is listening, we need to do something about that, because I think they can do a better job with that. All right, let's move down to our effects. What I need to do first is create a new solid, and we're gonna call that flare. If I can learn how to type properly here, there you go. Click enter, make sure it's screen, and go down to Video Copilot, go down to optical flares, and I want you guys to grab that immediately, put it in the center. We're gonna go down to options, and we're going to choose which one works best for us. Click preset browser. I usually like to go down to the second one first, see if there's something I like, and I already chose the one I like from a while back, so this one actually works for me. I'm gonna go down here. I actually like the way it looks with, you know, these things popping out. I'm however gonna crank this to 200 and 200 on both. Maybe that's too much, so how about 150? Yeah, I like 150. Now, just adding this flare, as you can see, it gave this whole warp effect so much more depth, and it looks really, really cool. And that's what you want. Now, what we also want to do is make the lens flare rotate with the rotations of the warp coming to us. And to do that, we have to go here and just go like this to make sure we have the right one to begin with, and we do. So we're gonna start a new keyframe here, and we're gonna move this to about 1 minute where we ended everything, and let's just do a rotation. You guys can do a full 360, doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna go about it right there, and let's see what it looks like. All right, that looks pretty cool. It's giving us the illusion that things are spinning, which some are and some really aren't. All right, very cool. Once again, 2D effect in 3D effect. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to cheat shots here because we're not doing full 360 with the cameras. We're just keeping the camera in one spot, and what's gonna be coming through this are ships that are made in 3D. Okay, so that's what we're gonna move on to next. Once we have this, let's move on to our ship. Let's create a new solid, and we're gonna call this one ships. That works too, because we're gonna be adding more than one. All right, once we're here, let's go down to effect, Video Copilot element, and hopefully you guys downloaded your ship and you know exactly where you put it. If you put it under all the other folders in Element 3D, then it'll be here. Mine is somewhere else, so I have to import it from my D drive in my tutorial folder, and it's right here. OBJ ship Corvette F3 from CG Pitbull, amazing 3D artist. Click on that, click opacity, click OK, and there's our ship. It is pretty big, and so what we need to do is we need to take it down to about 20%, and I'll say even more than that, 10%, and maybe I would say even 5%. Okay, now you might ask yourself, why does it look like this? Well, it's because it's on draft textures. Unclick that and those will come out properly. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to go really quick down our material sections to make sure everything is exactly what it's supposed to be. All right, this looks right, and let's click here. Now if it was a 3D modeling software, this would be right, but it's not right. Element 3D only understands this. So click on that and watch what happens. All right, things have already changed and the bumps look much better. I'm gonna take this down to about 70 actually, because too much bump doesn't look real either. Too much shine for me, so I'll take this down to about 10, and I'm gonna take this down to about 70. All right, once you're here, that looks much better for you, but guys, you guys decide what you want to do. Okay, up to you guys. All right, I want these to start shining, so let's go down to our illuminations. Click here in your folder wherever you downloaded the ship. You should have these right here. Okay, so I'm gonna click on this. Oh, not on this, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. On this right here that says glow. Once you click on that, come down to your illumination tab. Make sure this is not black, but it's actually white. And then I want you to crank this up to about 250. Boom, just like that. We got some lights coming up and that looks pretty good. Click OK, and here's our ship right there, just like this. Now we won't be able to control our ship yet because we have to create a new camera. So let's go ahead and create a new camera. Make that camera 80 millimeters because it gives the illusion that the ship is very long, and that's what you want. Once we're here, as you can see, as soon as we did that, the ship changed. Well, it didn't change, but the vision changed. What we want to do now is bring that ship to us. But before we do that, I want you to click on anything. I want you guys to go to new, and we're going to create a new null object. And what we want to do is we want to let the null object control our ships. And trust me when I say this, it is so much easier to use a null object than going into the element 3D tab and controlling it that way. It's very, very painful to that way, but through the null, it's so much easier. So go down here, go down to effects, and what we want to do is we want to link the particle replicator, this and this, our position X, Y, and Z to our null. But first, make the null 3D. Click on the null, click on transform, and let's get that started right now. Alt and click on the key, pig whip it to our position here, and come down to a Z position. Alt click, pig whip that to this area here. Okay, once you're done with that, great. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the rotations. Alt click and bring it to the X. Here they are. Alt click, bring the Y to the Y. There we go. And last one, bring the Z to the Z. All right, now that we have this here, you don't have to worry about this anymore. Everything is controlled through the node. Okay, very important. Once we're here, as you can see, the node is connected to this. So what we want to do now is we want to go under our select view layout, click to view horizontal. We're looking this through the top, and this is through the main camera, and this is through the top, and this is exactly what you want to do. You want to go through the top, the right, or the left. And so what we want to do now is we want to create a light and see how the light is going to reflect off of this ship right here. Okay, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. It all depends on how well the ship is made, plus what kind of material is on the ship. All right, so let's just put a light on and let's see what happens. Let's give that light about 500. Keep everything where it's at. Make sure it's casting shadows. And there's that. And so far is pretty good. What I want to do is I want to flip it the other way. Now let's go in and also flip our ship around. There you go. And I think it's gonna be 180 degrees. Let's go and do that. Let's go back to our light. Okay, so let's zoom in really quick on the ship. And what I want to do is go back to the ship and go to render settings, and let's quickly click on ambient occlusion. Let's give it about 15. let's also go to shadows. Let's click on shadows. Alright, the light is giving off some shadows. I'm gonna take this back down to about 8. Let's go to map size and make that 4K. Let's go to parallel, which is the light that we're using here. Just double that, 2024. Let's see what 8K looks like. Let's take that back down to kind of like that look actually. Whatever look you guys are trying to create, it's up to you guys, alright? I just want some shadows on my ship because it looks cool. See, that's shadows. Shadows creates realism, and that's what you want on any 3D OBJs that you have. You want some realism in shadows. Okay, that looks good. Now in order to create darker shadows, you have to crank up the light's intensity, or else you're not gonna get dark shadows. But it's okay, because in this scene we don't have many dark shadows because there's light everywhere. But let's go here really quick. Alright, sounds good. Everything's about where it's at. We're gonna keep this bright, not doing any color corrections to that because we just want to know what we're doing here. Alright, so what we want to do now is click on this view, but you want to do from the right side. Okay, so that's what we want now, and we're gonna go back to our null and just use our null to control what we want to do. So I want the ship to come from a little higher up. There you go, like that, and just to come like this. All right, that's what I wanted to do, and then I wanted to stop about right there. Okay, so let's make sure it's off the camera. Here's your camera right there. Okay, and here's your null. All right, and this is how you have to control the camera. You have to control the camera through this area here, through this section here, because if you're trying to control the camera by guessing where you are here through the main camera, trust me, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be very painful. Do it this way, it's faster, it's easier, and it makes your life so much easier. All right, so let's go ahead and go down to a position. We're gonna click a new keyframe, and let's go down to 5 seconds, and then put your keyframe there. And let's give it about 3 seconds to come through. There it is, it's coming through now, and it's right there. All right, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so there we go, boom, just like that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And the stopping might be abrupt, but once you shake this footage, it's going to be just fine, so don't worry about that. Okay, all right, now let's put some motion blur into this too, just to see what it would look like with some motion blur. So go back to your ship, be in a render, and let's find the motion blur. There it is. Click on. There you go. With a bit of motion blur, it looks pretty cool, but it's coming so fast that I like to use 32. 32 looks so much better, right? And so that's exactly what you want to look. You want to give that look. Okay, so let's go back to our first view, and with motion blur, it might make my computer work a little harder, but let's see. 5 seconds. Here's the ship coming through some blur. There it is. All right, once again, let's look at the blur. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now if you're like me, you might go, the lighting doesn't look real, it looks kind of fake because the light is coming from the front, not the back. You're absolutely right. So in order to just fix that, just put a curve on it. Go to color corrections, put a curve on that, and there it is. We're gonna darken just enough so we can still see, but not too much. Just like that. That looks so much more real. Okay. All right. And one last thing I want to show you guys as well is everything looks very colorful, but the ship doesn't. How can we fix that? Element 3D has a way of fixing that I think is pretty cool. So let's go down to your environment and click here and get out of there. And what you want to do is, if you guys have this, if you guys don't have it, then you need to find a HDRI file that can give the ship a full 360 of light. But if you guys bought the whole entire thing that came with element 3, if you bought the whole package, it came with the whole package. I bought the whole package because I didn't want to have to buy each package individually. It's more expensive that way. I just forked out the money and made that an investment for me, and you guys should all do the same thing too. Click on blacklight environment, go to blacklight 4K. What you want to do is come down to either one of these and choose which one you want. I'm going to choose this one, and look at that. Already I'm giving these colors, and when the ship is moving, it's moving with the colors. And if we click here, we understand why. There you go. Here's your environment. And you can even create this environment yourself too in After Effects by just having 6 enormous squares of different colors and put a glow in it, and that's it. Alright, here we go. That works, and let's see what it's gonna look to the ship. Boom. Look at that. It gave the ship colors. Minute colors, but it's enough to give it the illusion that it works. Okay? And that's exactly what we want to do. Alright. Now, I could add the other ships into this, but I just wanted to show you guys how to create this, just like this. What you guys can do next is you guys can go back down to your ships. You can go to scene setup, and all you have to do is double make these ships. Double click on those so that they duplicate, and then you make this one, you throw this one out, and you throw the two ships that you duplicated out. You make 1, 2, and you make the other one 3. Okay, and now we have 3 ships under one same folder, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, click that. Now both ships are right there, so what you can do is you can create another null. Actually, let's go and just create a new null. I was thinking about if I want to just duplicate that null, but that would be the wrong way of doing that. Let's go to ships, and now click your group 1, and in your group 2 here, that's exactly what you would be doing. Okay, same thing as what we did earlier. Okay, and I'm not gonna pick whip the XYZ. I'm just gonna pick whip the position and the Z position. Okay, there it is. Now let's go in and bring that to us now. So let's go back to second view, and now we're gonna bring the second ship to us. There it is. All right, I'm gonna bring it down a little bit, and the third ship is there, and it's okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to go here and click it out, because now that we have 2 ships, that's gonna work too. But the problem that we have here is the ship is turned to us, and we just have to go down to group 2 and particle replicator rotation, click 180, and there it is, full 360. All right, what we want to do now is let's have this ship come in right after it gets here. We'll have the ship coming right behind it as well. So it's the same concept, guys, same concept. So let's go here to group 2 and making sure that these are connected, and they're all connected. Now make sure you go to your null here, and what you want to do is go down to your position, start a key here, and it's at 8:10, so let's give it about 11 until 11 seconds. We'll have this ship come through, and it'll be just right there, and it was already right there earlier. We don't want that, so we're gonna take it back down a little bit out. There you go. So we should have something looking like this. We have this going, this going, this going, and boom, our first ship is coming through. At 8, our second ship is coming through, just like that. Okay, and so this is how it works. Very easy, very simple. Alright guys, let's go ahead and work on scene number 2. Now you might be wondering, hey, what did you just do? Well, I just pre-comped everything here. So everything was in here, and I decided to just pre-comp it so it would be much easier for me to maneuver myself around. So in order to pre-comp, all you guys got to do is go like this, select it all, and just go down layer and click pre-comp. Alright, once you have that, it looks like this, and it makes it easier to render, and it makes it easier for you to move things around back and forth. But only do that once after you make sure everything looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to scene number 2. Let's go ahead and start a new solid. We're gonna call this solid planet, and keep it at 1080p. Let's go down to effects, come down to element, and once you are here, let's click scene setup. Alright, and we're gonna go down to create, click this here, sphere. Make sure you click here, go down to segments and make that 20. It just smooths the edges, and that's kind of what we want for this planet. Once we're here, hopefully you guys downloaded the textures that I asked you guys to download. I want you guys to go down to diffuse, click here, load texture. Mine is in my tutorial folder in my D drive. Right there it is, pictures, and you should have this right now. So we're gonna choose Mars as our texture, and because it is an enormous texture, make sure that you come down in your preferences and make sure this is 8192, okay, because that's the size of this texture. I believe it's 8192 by 4096, something like that. So click OK. This looks great. That's what we want. Once you have that, I want you guys to come down to environmental multiplier, take that down to 0, because the truth is, if a light is coming from above, there is no source of light at the bottom, and it should be pure dark. I think Hollywood has made it in a way where it's not real looking, and you still see something when there shouldn't be seen anything, and we're so used to that look that we want to recreate that look. But let's be realistic. Unless if a light was at the bottom, sure, you could see whatever is here, but I don't think you should ever see anything down there. That being said, let's go and move forward. Now the next thing we want to do is put some bump into this, and your bump should be right here. Okay, so click on that, click OK, and at first you might go, oh my gosh, what happened? This is crazy. And what we want to do is just take it down to where it looks good for us. Okay, so you might not see anything clear, and if you don't, it's because we're on draft textures. Unclick that, and it's going to take us straight to seeing things how it's supposed to be seen. Okay, and if your computer is not fast, it might take a while, but if your computer is pretty fast, it might just take 5 to 10 seconds to go right through it. And here it is right here. So once again, it looked like this, and now we just want to take it down to about a place where it looked good. I think 22 is where I like it, so I'm just gonna keep it like that at 22. 22 looks good. Alright, the next thing we want to do is put some clouds on there. So go back to create, click on here. Whoa, it just went crazy on us, but it's okay. All right, you want to make that into the second, put that on the second place, put this on the first one, so you have, all right, there it is. I thought for a second here my computer was gonna crash on me, but I was like, no way, it can't crash. It's a brand new powerful computer. And so here's that. Oh, I see, every time you switch around, it's gonna go crazy on us. So that has nothing to do with my computer. It's Element 3D not being able to handle this switch back and forth like that, but it's okay. All right, so what we want to do here is we want to take this back down again to 20, and you want to go down to the default, diffuse, and let's bring some clouds in. And here's that. Let's click that like this. Now you want to put it on 2 so that you can control it, but let's make sure that it looks good on the planet too. So let's just throw it back on the planet, and let's see what it looks like together. Hopefully Element 3D won't fall apart on me here. Alright, so let's make this 101. About 10.5. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to go down to your advanced tab here, and let's click screen to see what it would look like. Okay, and what I also want to do is I want to go down to my environment multiplier and just take that down to 0. All right, already it looks so much better. Okay, so let's see what just 100 would actually look like on our scale. Okay, at 100 it doesn't work anymore, so we're gonna do 100.2, because what we want to do is make sure that this here is as close as possible to it. And it looks pretty good, it looks pretty close. I like that. I'm gonna keep it like that. But what I'm gonna do is maybe here I want to go 18, 15, how about 5? Because I wanted to close the gap here. So let's try 6, about 8, about 10. Yeah, I'm okay with 10. 10 is okay. 10 is good. 10 is good. All right, let's click OK, and let's see what it looks like. All right, and if you're asking yourself, why is it lagging? Well, our texture is enormous, okay? And that's something that Element 3D and After Effects and any 3D modeling application take into consideration when it comes to rendering. Because we're using high resolution textures to get the highest quality that we possibly can, is going to take a long time for anything to render as well. And so I think that's why Element 3D was struggling. Now that we have that, let's go down to layer, let's do camera, and we want to do, you guys can do 80 millimeters or you guys can do 50, and let's try 50. 50 looks good. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to put a atmosphere around that. So let's go and do that right now. We're gonna go to layer, new, solid, and let's put a red atmosphere on that. Okay, we're gonna call that atmosphere. Enter, and it's black. I should have changed that right away to the color I wanted to. So let's do this. All right. Now I want you guys to come down to this area, click your ellipse tool, make sure it's right in the middle, click on your left mouse, click Alt, and Alt was the wrong one, my apologies, it's Control. There you go. I always get these two mixed up when I do this. Alright, once we're here, that's great. We want to bring the atmosphere below that planet. I almost said Earth, but it doesn't look nothing like Earth. It's pretty big, but that's fine. You guys can make it smaller if you want. So let's downscale that a little bit. Alright, just like this, and make sure all the sides look good. Okay, what we want to do next is we want to go into our feather section. We're going to feather it out. There's that, and let's bring the pixel down a little bit. Okay, that looks great. Let's feather back out a little bit more. Alright, now let's go down to effects and presets. Let's click glow, and let's throw a glow in the atmosphere. There it is. So let's click away and see what it looks like. That's not bad. You guys can make it smaller, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just gonna move on. And what you want to do next is make sure that that is 3D. Okay, make sure it's 3D, and then once you're here, type A, the letter A twice, and you want to make sure that the accept light is off, because if you don't do that and you create a light, it's gonna make this 2D solid here black, and we don't want that either. Okay, once we have that, we also have to pig whip it to the planet to make sure it follows the planet wherever we go. And one last step is right click, click on transform, go auto orient, and orient it to the camera. So no matter where you go, where you look, the camera it's looking at the camera. So alright, now let's try really quick. So look at that. Alright, it's looking at the camera. If you don't do this, it's not gonna look at the camera. And you know what? I'm gonna do that for you guys right now to see, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go back here, auto orient, I'm gonna say off. Alright, now watch what happens. There you go. See, now I believe you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again to make sure it's working. Alright, and it's working. Great. Once we are here, in the scene, we have some nebulas in the background. So let's go ahead and create those nebulas right now, okay? And in fact, I'm even gonna move that way back. There you go. To create the nebulas, and don't forget to save, of course. And to create the nebulas, go down to layer. We're gonna start a new solid, and we're gonna call that nebula. And just make that black. And if I'm going really fast through that, I apologize, guys. I've been trying my best to keep these tutorials short. I never seem to be able to succeed at that, but I hope you guys still get something out of these tutorials. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and go down to effects, video Copilot, optical flares. I hope you guys have optical flares. Once again, fork out the money and make that an investment. You're going to be using them so much, it's ridiculous. Go here, type in this, and what you want is the turbulent displacement. You're going to throw that in your nebula folder, and we're going to crank this up to 10, and we're going to take this to about 150 and take that to about 250. Once you're here, boom, we get this. At first you might go, that doesn't look like a nebula. You're right, because we have to go into our options and pick what's going to work best for us. I usually like to pick this one. This one always seems to work best for me, but what I want to do is I want to take these out, because if you don't, it's going to create artifacts that will just not look pretty. Click that, and boom, look at that, we just created a nebula. Very cool, huh? Alright, so if you see these artifacts here, what you want to do is just want to crank that down a little bit, okay? That's all you gotta do, crank that down. And you might want to crank up the scale a little bit. Let's go to 120, maybe this 110, see what we get. Alright, that might be too bright, let's take it back down to 100, and that looks pretty good. What you want to do now is move it in a place where you feel is gonna look very cool, okay? So I'm gonna try my best to recreate that scene, but I might move these nebulas in different places too. So what you want to do also is make sure this is screened, okay? You want to make sure this is screened, and then once you duplicate it, you can either keep it like this if it looks cool, but right now I'm just gonna move them in a place where I believe is gonna look cool. And then if I want to make them brighter or darker, then I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to move one right here too, kind of create an eye. Alright, so let's move this one here. And it's so cool, it's 2D, but you have a 3D look illusion of clouds, and this is really cool. Alright, I stated this has darkened a little bit, so let's go ahead and just create a light right now. Oh, what am I doing? That's not what I want. Light, let's make that 500, and I want to see. 500 might be way too much. Let's go and take it down to 150. Okay, so what I want now is also go down here, make that 2 view so I know where my light is. I want this to be from the top. Okay, so that's what I want to do. Let's click that again. Alright, this is okay. It's off. Set shadows. Turn that off too. Atmosphere should not have any shadows. Alright, so from afar it looks very strange. It looks like it's too much, so I'm gonna downscale it a little bit to about 80 actually, just so that we have an atmosphere but not so much. It's brown, so that's why it looks like that. So I'm gonna change that color right now actually too. It looks just too weird. Let's give it more of a natural color, and maybe a blue or something. Alright, light blue. I kind of like it back here. Alright, okay, there you go. That looks much better. Alright, much better. Let's take that down to 75. Alright, looks way better, way better. Alright, so hopefully you guys had the opportunity to fix that with me too. Let's go and go back to our one view. Now that we have this look right here, that's what we want. This is great. What I want to do now is I want to go down here and go down to your effects tab, go down to color correction. Let's put a curve, just see what the curve it looks like. So let's darken it up a little bit, and it's giving us that look that I like, but you might not like it, but I do like that. So I'm going to keep that look, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to throw that curve to all other nebulas that I created, and there it is right there. And now we have that look. And what you can do is you can always brighten this look too if you want. You know, if it's not what you want, you can go back in there, brighten it up a little bit. Now you guys might be asking me, well, why don't you just pre-comp everything and do that? You can if you don't want to have control of each nebulas, but if you want to control each nebulas, you just kind of have to do this way until you have what you want, and then you can pre-comp everything. Okay, all right, so this is exactly what I like, and it looks good. And we have our natural light going through this right here, and that's fine. I like that too. All right, so now what we want to do is in that scene, if you guys saw, there was some type of a mist, and I actually purchased that mist from a company, and I will put a link beneath their description so you guys know who they are, but I can't use that for my tutorial and give it to you guys because it belongs to them, even though I bought it. That being said, next time I'll definitely ask permission from them to see if I can use anything that I bought from them and give it to you guys for free, as long as I'm linking a page to you guys. And if they say yes, great. If not, then it's okay too. So let's move on. Let's go and create, we're gonna be creating the asteroids for it, okay? So what you wanna do is you wanna go to this view because you wanna make sure that everything is here. What we wanna do now is create a new layer and go down to new and solid, and we're gonna call these asteroids. Asteroids. Hoping I'm spelling it right. If not, correct me, guys. Just write it down for me. All right, so let's make this black. Click OK, and let's go down to effects, video Copilot element. And what we are gonna use, guys, is Video Copilot's starter pack. When you guys bought Video Copilot, should have came with this. We're gonna use these 3 rocks right here, okay? So click on one, click on the other, and click on the other. And once you have them like this, just keep them the way they are and just click OK. Here they are right now. What we want to do is actually go back here. Let's make them smaller. They already look pretty small, but I want them to be way smaller. So let's go 5. See what 5 looks like. And let's click this. Let's zoom in real quick. It still looks pretty big. Or you can zoom in here. So we want to go smaller than this, all right? Because these asteroids, if they're as big as the planet, I mean, that's cool. But I think we can make them smaller. Let's go 1 on all 3. There we go. Click. Much better. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to go to your asteroids, put them right above your planet, and we might put them, no, let's keep them here. Let's go here, our particle replicator. You want to do grid, not grid, let's do a plane. That's it, that's more like it. And let's just crank that up to 10. Okay. I'm gonna spread them out, and I'm gonna come down to particle look, particle size, particle rotation. Okay, so particle size, random size. Am I in the right place? Oh, what I want to do is random. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to keep that to 0. So keep that to 10. Make sure it's 100% random. And let's crank that up a little bit more. Fix this in a little bit. Spread them apart. Go back here real quick. So we need to fix this. Let's move this out like this. Click the folder out. Now click. Alright. See, now they're all random and they're spread out properly. Okay, once we are here, what we want to do is we want to give it some random rotation, random angle. Just go here, just give it a whole bunch of random things. Don't need to worry. It's just gotta be random. Alright, there's another random section here. Scatter, that's what I was looking for. There you go. Scatter on the Y. Scatter here. Scatter on the Z. And so now we have to give it a whole lot more. There you go. And what we want to do now is scatter them out, like extremely out. Alright, we'll scatter it out and we're gonna really crank it up at 500. There you go. And we want these rocks to literally come close to us, so we really have to scatter them out. But on the Z scatter head, you really have to go out on that Z scatter. Alright. Now let's just spread them all out. Okay, so they're coming closer to us now. And we're gonna cramp that up to 800. Not 8,000, 800. Go. So what I maybe want to do is bring that back to 30. Okay. So how about 1,000? There you go. That looks so much better. 1,000 looks so much better. So let's go back here. I want to scatter it more on the Y. And there you go, more on this. Keep it like that on this. Alright. See what it's doing on that random rotation here really quick. On the Y. Like this. Okay. Alright. Okay. There we go. Now, if you guys want to add more, you can. You know, I mean, you can just go 2,000, and boom, you have so many more rocks. You know, depending on how powerful your computer is, you can really crank it up. I think adding 2,000 looks pretty good right here, and I like that. I like just the way it looks. Now you have a whole entire field of asteroids, and it's a true field in true 3D. It's because the camera is about right there right now. So what you're seeing right here is probably the rocks are about right there, and it's doing it's a real field. So when you go right through it, you're really going right through a field of 3D. Okay, 3D asteroids. And that's what you want. Okay, once we have that, let's go back to our first view here, and that's pretty much what our scene looks like for our second scene. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our ship together here. So let's start a new solid. And let's go ahead and call that ship. Alright, let's put it right on top of our asteroids. And let's go down to effects, video Copilot element. Let's click scene setup. Once we're here, wherever you put your ship is where you're gonna grab it. Mine is right here, so I'm gonna do that. Click opacity, click yes. And we already know the ship is pretty big, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click 1 here. And once I'm at 1, I'm going to go down here and double check to make sure things are good. Now when you click here, these are also bumps. What works best with element is this, but when you do that, once again it gives it 2 different looks, so it's really up to you. And for this one, I'm actually going to keep the first one and go from there. What I also want to do is put some illumination in there, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Make sure this is white, and I'm gonna go down to intensity and say 250. Here are the lights and everything's good. What I'm also gonna do is I'm going to take this down to about 60 and leave my glossiness at 20, and let's see what it looks like. Click OK, and here's our ship right here. One still looks pretty big, so I'm actually gonna do 0.5 and see what 0.5 looks like. 0.5 looks much more real. It could be an enormous ship, and that's okay with that. What we want to do now is we want to go down to our layer, new null, make that a 3D. Remember, we're going to do what we did earlier for the first scene. We're going to link those coordinates together, element, go down to group 1, go down to particle replicator, click Alt here and move this up, connect it to the position, and Alt the Z position, go down to here, that's the Z position. Once we're here, let's go and close that out, and let's close that out. Let's just go and move our ship. Let's put it in the place where it won't be too bad. Here, this is a good spot here for that. Since I didn't connect the XYZ, I'm gonna go down to my ship and just move it through element, and we're just gonna move it around like this. Okay. And let's move our camera to see what it would look like. So here's our camera zooming into the ship, and here's the ship. So how about we put the ship right here actually and make it face downwards, so because we want to see the side of the ship. So let's go to the null, let's just slightly move it this way, and we're gonna do a rotation like this, and we're gonna rotate it like that. There you go. Alright, so let's go ahead and move that back out. Partially move it back out. Oops. Because we have an asteroid way out there, so let's put it about right there. I like it right there. Cool. And maybe we'll move our asteroids closer together too. So let's go ahead and do that. Here are X scatter. Let's take it down to 0, and then let's crank it back up. Kind of destroyed that look. I like that look, so let's take it back to what it was. Let's go further back. 23. I guess they're just scattered everywhere. You know what? We'll just keep it like that. I tried to do something and it didn't work out, and it's okay, guys. This is this is part of doing visual effects. You're gonna want to try an idea, and then you're like, oh man, okay, that didn't work out. That's fine. Move on. I'm not gonna edit this out. I want you guys to see it. All right, that's fine. We'll keep it like that. Now, let's go ahead and go back to our camera, and we're gonna set a key point for it on the position, and we're gonna take it to about 5, and 5 will be way too slow. I know that for a fact, but I just want to take it here to go exactly what we say we're gonna do, and just stop it right there. There you go, just like that, and our ship is right there. All right, and let's just do a one view. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so we're going through this, we're going through that, we're going through that, we're going through some rocks, we're going through some rocks, and here we are right there. Okay, and now let's see if we put the rocks beneath the planet, what would it look like? So we're going through, and here we are, boom, right there where the planet is. So it's gonna be up to you guys if you want to put the rocks beneath the planet or on top of the planet. If you put them on top of the planet, it's still giving you, it's not in the planet, but it's giving you that illusion that you have things here. It's only, it may or may not work when you do a close-up shot of the planet. Then you might realize to yourself, oh, you know what, I have a rock that is right in the planet, it's not gonna work. But I think making it look like that looks good, because we put our ship on top of the asteroid, which means no matter what, the ship is on top of the asteroids, and the asteroids are not going to be like in the ship itself. But that being said, let's go and give these asteroids some shadows. So let's go and click that, and we're going to make the shadows 496. We'll set parallel light 2024. Let's give these rocks some ambient occlusion. I'm gonna crank that up to 20. All right. Okay. And I want to go here in my scene setup. And what I want to do with the rocks is I want to make sure that here on the environmental multiplier that they're all the way turned down. Okay, and the reason why we didn't do that at first is because we wanted to make sure that we could see our rocks where they were. But now when we do this, trust me, it's gonna look different now. And you see we have some real shadows, some real looking rocks now, and it's reacting to the light, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, and I might even go back and say the glossiness, I'm taking that glossiness down to about 60 to be even more real with the rocks. There you go. And now let's click that, and I could see those changes. You guys might know, but I can see those changes, and that's looking good, and that's exactly what I want. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these asteroids the way they are, and now we're just gonna move back. And now the problem that we have now, and as you can see now, these rocks look so much better. Okay, and that's what you want. So don't get crazy with anything yet until you know where things are located. Okay, and now our problem is we need to make sure that this zooms out too when we have that going on. So let's go and do that right now. So what we're gonna do is on a nebulas, we're just going to grab them all, and we're going to go to layer, and we're going to pre-comp them. Okay, and we're just going to call that nebulas, and click enter, and let's make that a 3D layer. Ooh, 3D layer did not work, so let's keep that where it's at. So but what we're gonna do is we're gonna scale them instead then. So as this is going through here, let's make that a reality. I would think it'll probably be about right there. Someone want to find out, and once we get here, let's do 100, put a keyframe. So it's about a bit of that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets. So once we get here, let's just okay. Let's just try that. It doesn't look real, but let's just try it. Because I'm thinking these nebulas are so far in the back that they wouldn't be coming this quick. So I'm gonna put that back there. I'm gonna crank this back down a little bit, and I'm actually gonna go back right there. Now let's see. All right, this looks more realistic. Okay, there you go. And here's our ship, and here's our planet. Alright, here's that, guys. Alright, here we go. So that is part of scene 2 right there. The scene 1 was creating that warp. Scene 2 is creating this scene right here, where the ship is by the planet, and we're doing a quick zoom in into the ship, and the planet is right there with the nebulas in the background. Now, we also had a ship that was coming out, of this ship right here. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna be working on that right now. So let's go and do that right now. All right, let's go ahead and create our second ship coming on the main ship right here. So what we need to do is we need to click on ship, click on the scene setup, make sure you are in your group folder, and you just want to bring that second ship that I asked you guys to download, and it's in my full OBJ ships folder here. I'm gonna click open, click opacity. Wherever yours is where you left it at, and it's a pretty big ship right now, as you can tell. You know, it's in its normal format. What we want to do is we want to take it down to 0.025 and click this to zoom in, and it's about right. It's about the right size. So let's check really quick just to make sure. Yeah, it's about the right size. So what I want to do is I want the ship to be coming from here, so I'm gonna take it back down here just like that, and I'm just gonna go here and let's zoom in really quick, go down this way, go like this, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, now it's not, this ship is not the ship that we created in tutorial 1 and 2, but this ship is still a wonderful ship created by CG Pitbull. Once again, an amazing 3D modeling artist that makes models for games, which is really cool. Now the ship will be coming out this way. Okay, so let's leave it here like this, but now we want to bring this down, and you want to make this part of the second section. Okay, and you'll see why we need to do that right now. Just click OK. Now see, the ship is right here, right? It's right here, and we want it in there, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Okay. Usually if we didn't create the snow here, the ship would be in there, but because we created the snow, the ship is where it believes it should be, but the ship, our main ship, is right here because the nose here. This ship is not connected to the node, and that's why it's not working properly. Okay, so what we can do is we can also go down here. Let's move this group up. We're gonna go down in group 2, particle replicator, and we're gonna do the same exact thing for it. Okay, so let's go and do that right now. Alt click, pig whip to position, alt click, pig whip to Z position, just like that. Alright, now as you can see, it's no longer there, and it's actually in the ship itself. Alright, so the way for us to get that ship to come out will be to go back into our scene setup, and what we want to do is we want to make this, we're going to go right here, and we want to make that a channel 1. And because we actually did all of this, I think we can put that back in here, but we're gonna see if it's gonna work or not. Okay, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it's okay if it doesn't. All right, now we know the ship is in there for sure. So what we need to do is we need to create a new camera, and what we're gonna do with the new camera is we're gonna put it right there facing the ship and watching the tiny transport ship go into the planet. So let's do that right now. So new camera, keep it at 50mm. We're gonna say yes, and now it's where it was earlier, but a little bit closer. We're gonna do our 2 views. We're gonna be looking at this from the top, and what you want to do is on the second camera, not the first one, the second one, you want to move this to where the ship is. Okay, and we'll move it to the tip of the ship, and you just want to pivot your camera to it. And as you can see on the second screen, well, the ship is exactly where we want it to be, and the camera is where we want it to be too. But I want to be closer to here, but I still want to pivot my ship, my camera, to where I can see it. All right, let's move. Whoops, I was way up on my ship here. All right, let's move it a little bit more this way, but there. So now I'm gonna move it forward a tiny bit, just so we can see the ship coming out. And that's good where it's at. All right, so now let's go and quickly zoom here, click save to make sure nothing disappear. Let's go our ship, and we want to go close them all. it was in group 2 earlier, but we moved it back to group 1, so let's keep it there. You want to go down to the aux channels, and it's on channel 1. So let's see if it's gonna work. If it's gonna work, if we move any of these, the ship should be coming out and doing what we want it to do. So let's give that a shot. All right, so moving it this way, it's gonna go that way, so that's not gonna work. So let's try this one here. That's moving down. We don't want that either. What about this? Oh, that's moving backwards. Oh, that's it right here. This is the one we want. Okay. All right, so let's keep it at 0, and let's do a keyframe at 5, and we're gonna give it 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, to go from one end to the other. And there you go. All right, it's off the screen, and that's what we want. Okay, so let's quickly see if it worked. It's right here. There it is coming out, and it disappears into the screen. Very cool. So that takes care of this shot right here. Now we want to see it from the back too. So let's go and create a new camera, 50 millimeters. Now this camera is going to be from this angle. So what we want to do is we want to bring this right here, and we might even want to pivot it, and we're going to move it this way because we want it from where the ship exited out. So let's go right through this ship. Okay, so let's go this way, and now it's just a question of finding our ship. So what I want to do is I want to go right view, and I'm going to try to find it. So here's our camera. Okay, so maybe the ship is, whoops. There we see it. There it is. Okay, let's go back to our top view, and we wanna move it this way actually. And the question is, do we want it this close to the camera, to the planet? Let's zoom out. And it might be too close to the planet, or it might be, because even though these planets are, the texture is really high, the only way to make a planet up close and personal look amazing is to UV unwrap it and then paint it the way you want it to paint it at close-up shots, so that the closer you are, the more realistic it looks, and the further you are, it still looks pretty realistic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and cheat the shots here, but you know, it's up to you guys. Okay, completely up to you guys how you want to do this. So for the sake of just this tutorial, I'm gonna say we don't need to worry about the close-up shot of the camera. I just want to show you guys how to do this so you guys can know how to do it properly. Okay, all right, so we're right here. So maybe about right there I'll have this camera start, and in about 5 seconds I'll have this camera start. So it's gonna look something like this. Let's give this a shot. There we go. We zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and boom, switch cameras. We see the ship exit out, right? And boom, here's the second camera, third camera, and the ship goes right out. Okay, so that's pretty much this for this scene. All right, so scene 2, we started with the planet, we put some nebulas in the background, and we put a whole bunch of asteroids all around the planet. And these asteroids are in real 3D format. You can fly through them if you want, and it looks something like this. So we're zooming in, zooming in, zooming in. We switch cameras, and there it is. The ship exits out, and there's a third camera, and the ship goes through. Now, you guys can just go down into the ship, and you guys can make this longer so the ship totally goes out into the planet, and you can cut scene. Okay, so that takes care of scene 2. Now we're gonna be moving on to scene 3. Alright guys, let's go and work on scene 3. So if you wonder where everything is, I pre-comped everything. By now you should know how to do that. But let's go and do scene 3. Go to layer, new solid. Let's call it scene 3. Keep it at HD 1080p. Click enter. Go down to effects, video Copilot element. Click scene setup. And wherever you guys put your sci-fi pack, make sure you find it. Mine is under video Copilot's folder, futuristic building, and I'm gonna click this right here. Now what I want to do is I'm gonna click on the first one first, and then I'm gonna grab that building, I'm gonna move it down, and I'm gonna click X on the group folder, because you want everything to be on group 1. Okay, that's what you want to do. And so I'm gonna skip this building because it doesn't look as great as it should. But I'm gonna move this down here, and I'm gonna go this one, that one, this one, that one. Let's go and do this one. Let's not do this one because of the bottom part. Let's do this one, that one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Let's go and do this one, that one, this one. The clock, let's leave the clock where it's at. Let's go and do this one, this one, this one. Let's go and do this one too. Definitely this one. Let's go and do that, and let's go and do this one. Let's go and do this one, and let's leave these 3 where they are. Okay, once you have that, click OK. So now that we are here, let's go and create a new camera right away. Keep it at 50mm for this, because we want to be able to see the whole entire field much better. Alright, once we're here, let's go back to scene 3. Go to your group 1 particle replicator. Make sure your replicator shape is on plane, and let's go in and type in 70 for this. Keep it like this, and it's already double, which is great because the shape scale was at 10, but now we're gonna crank that up even more. Okay, once we're right here, what I want you guys to do is grab your camera, click on the center of the button of the mouse, move this down. All right, and left click to pivot your city around. All right, so just like this, we created a pretty cool city, guys, and it's not taxing on your computer, and that's the beauty that Andrew Kramer and his team were able to put together with Video Copilot. This duplication here creates no taxes on the computer that you have. If you did this one by one, it would be so hard for your processor, your graphics card to go through it. Even with a pretty powerful computer like mine, it's still tasking. But through this process, it is super quick. The only problem is because beneath the buildings, we don't have any grounds. It's gonna look like this, okay? So the trick is to just crank this up a little bit more, and to make sure that your camera never sees the ground, okay? So something like this is just fine, all right? This is pretty good. So the way I had mine is it was kind of facing down like this, just like that. And what I want to do now is I want to put 2 of those big towers right in the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So I'm gonna bring this one and that one back in, okay? But I'm gonna make this one really big, like this, and the radio tower, same thing, really big, just like that. All right. Now, my mistake is I grouped them all to 1, 2, and you don't want to do that. So you want to group them all by themselves. So I'm going to do that 2, and I'm going to do that 3. 2, 3, just by themselves. All right, much better. Now what I want to do is I want to do 2 views, so I know where I'm at. I'm going to go back to my regular section here. So now I know these 2 buildings are in the center, and it doesn't matter at all if they are in other buildings, because we're not gonna see that unless if you guys get close. If you do get close, then what you want to do is you want to spread them further apart, okay? If you spread them further apart, then you can definitely put 1 building right here. And so let's go and do that right now. So we're gonna go down to group 2, and let's just move it around. Oops, I did the wrong one. I'm gonna go down. We're gonna put this one right here, okay? And then we're gonna keep this big one in the middle here, just like that. And because it's going to be hitting other ones, so what I want to do now, I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to spread them further apart. Actually, let's keep them close so we don't see the bottom. Let's go back down to group 3. get away with this. If we can, we're just gonna do it. Yeah, that's gonna work. So I guess we'll just keep it like that. Let's go back in our scene setup and let's make these two buildings even bigger. Okay, there you go. That looks much better. Alright, so what we want to do now, because we have our camera set where we want it to be, we're going to go back to our first view. And this takes care of this right here, right now, okay? But we still see an area here. So what we can do is grab our camera once again and just move it where we won't see it anymore, just like that. And move it down a little bit because I could see some in the bottom here. And there it is. Now we just created this whole entire city here by just duplicating here by our particle counts. And that's it for that. Within 5 minutes, we're able to create this whole entire city. If you guys want to get more technical, because the plane is flying over, you guys can too. But for this scene, we'll keep it like this. Okay, so what we want to do now too is create a new light. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Let's create a new light, and let's crank it up to about 300 just to see what it would be like. Okay, and let's go here. Let's go to our two views because we want to know where our light is. What we want to do too is go back to our scene 3, go down to our render settings, and we want to make sure that we have some shadows. So click on shadows. There you go. You see that? We just created some shadows. Creates realism. It makes things look more cool. And we're gonna get sharper with the shadows. We're gonna get crazier with this. There you go, because we want to light the whole entire scene. So the bigger the section is, the more shadows will be created, and that looks pretty good. That's what we want. Now we actually want our light to be facing in a different direction. It'll be up to you guys to wherever you guys want your light to be facing, because wherever you're creating your scene is totally up to you guys. Okay, let's say the light is coming through this way, so I'll be facing this way, but in my scene I had the light actually come through this way. Okay, and because my sun was more toward that direction. All right, and so we can do that, or you guys can, you know, get closer and, you know, create nighttime. Up to you guys, but I'm gonna keep it right here as is. All right, now what I also want to do is make sure these buildings have some ambient occlusion. So I'm gonna do these groups here because they're in the way. Undo the shadow, go down to ambient occlusion, and let's click on that, and there it is. I like to crank it up about 6. There you go. 6 looks pretty good. Okay, that takes care of this whole entire section here. Now what I want to do is I want to create the mountains in the background, and after those mountains in the background, I'm gonna put another background in the back. And guys, the funny thing is that background in the back, many may have thought it was all made in 3D. Nope. Visual effects artists, what we try to do is cheat as many shots as we possibly can and elude the eyes of those who are watching. It's just a 2D picture. That's it. All right, that being said, you guys will see it when the time comes. Let's go ahead and create a new solid, and we're gonna call those rocks. Now the rocks that I got, I purchased those on CG Trader. That's mostly where I get all of my 3D objects, but for this we're gonna use Element 3D's rocks, and we're just gonna elongate them to create some cliffs. So let's go ahead and go to Video Copilot, Element, Scene Setup, and what you guys want to do right now is go down to your Video Copilot folder, starter, pack, and let's go and grab this one right now. Okay, and then click this button here and let's totally deform it. All right, that's all we're gonna do. We're just gonna deform it, and then we're just going to duplicate it, and we're gonna bring it back here, and you're gonna bring it down, and we're gonna pivot it this way, and that's all I want you guys to do. So while I'm making these right now, I'll fast forward this part so that we're not sitting here for 6 hours wondering why it's taking forever. So now I'm going to bring all these rocks down, so we're closing any gaps. Oh, and you can see we have some gaps down here too. So what we need to do is we have some buildings. Let's see, what if we added more buildings? Oh, we did close some gaps. Let's go back and let's just find a place where gaps are not seen as easily. All right, so I think we covered all of them pretty much except for this part, and let's just add a couple more buildings and see how much we can cover. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring all those rocks down even more. Okay, good. Right there is about right. Okay, just like this. Let's make sure we save. All right, and that takes care of our mountains in the back and also takes care of our city right here. Now what we want to do is use our camera now and decide how we're going to be flying through this. Okay, so let's go in and just play with our camera. Let's go on to view, and let's move everything back to how the camera sees it. And now let's go and just move the camera through this, and let's make sure we're not hitting anything. Now what would be pretty cool is if we could actually go right through this right there. Okay, and without hitting this part, so let's move it down. Right there, and go right through here, just like that. Oh, that's great, that's beautiful. All right, so let's take it back here, just like this. Keep it like that. Okay, so let's put a keyframe on our camera position for both, and let's just do 5 seconds of fly through. We'll be flying through just like that. Okay, move back. All right, obviously when you get here we can see that the mountains are not long enough, so let's take care of that right now. We're gonna make them longer. That's all there is to it. All right, let's make them longer. There you go. Now we don't have that problem anymore. Alright, let's grab our camera again and let's fly through. And we're flying through it just like this. Alright. Once we get here, we'll just have a camera go up and we'll give it, let's give it another, let's just give it about 2.5 seconds. So let's click on this section here and make it a right view. And as you can see, our mountains are right here, the camera is right there, and we want the camera to actually go up. So I'm gonna press up like this, but we're gonna make it go forward as well, so it's passing through. Okay, there you go. So let's just see what it looks like. Alright, here we go, we're coming down. Alright, so the problem that we have now is we are totally going right through the city and destroying everything on our way out. That's just crazy. So the way to fix that is simple. We just move everything up. Okay, went a little too far up. little bit. Okay, so right there, that's the one we need to also change. So let's go and do that. Let's see. All right, that's pretty good. So it looks like we're going up and down and right through here. So what we can do as soon as we get about right there, we're going to go right. And so let's go back to our top view, and then we just want to move it a bit to the right, just like that. Okay, so now let's see where it's going to take us. There you go, it's going to take us exactly where we want to go. So let's do a quick view through. We go up and we go down through it, we go right, boom, just like that. All right, so guys, look at that. We just created a flyby with the plane. All right, so that's pretty cool. So let's go to our first view, and I'm going to just go to quarter so it renders faster. I'm just going to click render because I want to see it. Wow, so cool, guys, so cool. And it goes right here. We're gonna right to that peak right there. So cool. All right, so now let's add some motion blur and see what it would look like with some motion blur. So here's our motion blur here. We're gonna go click on, and I say we'll go all the way to 32. All right, so now let's click that again. Alright, so it looks like this with some motion blur. Looks pretty cool. We'll go right through it, and there it is. Look at that. Pretty cool, guys. Looking so good so far. It's looking good, guys. I really like this. Alright, so let's go stop that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually have our spaceship come through here and go right through it now. Okay, so I'm sure that was the one thing that a lot of people saw that they thought was really cool. Alright, so let's go and start a new layer and solid, and we're gonna call this ship. Click enter, and we're gonna be using our fighter ship, transport ship, effects, video Copilot element. Click scene setup, and let's go ahead and import it out is my ship right there. Yours will be elsewhere. I'm gonna actually go down to about 5 for this, so 5 looks about right. Once again, I want to make sure everything's looking good, so I'll go right there. I want to put my lights in, so that's important. There it is. Make sure this is white. Crank it up to 250. There you go, everything's lit. Take this down to about 70. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that down even lower to about just 1. Okay, 1 is about right. Sounds good. I'm gonna click OK, and here's my ship right there. I'm gonna go back to full view, and I'm going to shut off my motion blur. And it doesn't matter how powerful your computer is, the more stuff you have on the screen, it takes a lot for After Effects or any computers to compute the motion blur. So you want to make sure you take care of that. Take it off until it's time for render. Let's go to our group 1. Actually, let's not do that. Let's go straight to our null, because we're going to want that to control our ship right away. Okay, so here's the null. Make it 3D right away. Go down to ships, effects, element, group 1, particle replicator, transform. All right, so same thing, guys. Go to your position XY, alt, pig whip it to this, alt on a Z position, pig whip it to this. There we go. Alright, once we have that, that's exactly what we want. We're just gonna let the null control everything. One last thing I wanted to do that I forgot, so I'm gonna do that right now. We want to have full control of those two. Okay, so let's go in and minimize those. Let's do a rotation, alt, pig whip, X, alt, pig whip, Y, alt, pig whip, go to Z. Alright, let's close that. Let's close this. Now we have full control of the ship. I want to rotate that ship this way, and let's do 2 views because we want to know where our camera is right now. Camera is right here. My ship needs to be right where the camera is as well. So my ship is pretty big, so we're gonna have to change the size of that ship. Okay, it needs to be more realistic. It needs to be smaller. Okay, let's make it go up. Alright, so before we touch and do anything, let's make the ship smaller. I say 2. Let's click on that. Yeah, 2 is so much more believable. Alright, let's bring it back. Let's rotate where we believe it would go. Let's move it here. Let's move it up. Right there. And let's open our camera so we know where it's at. Alright, so it's about right there. From right there, let's just move this ship out. Okay, we're not sure where it's going now, but it's okay, because we'll fix it when we come down here. Alright, okay, here's our ship now, and the camera is passing the ship, so it's obvious that the ship needs to move faster than the camera. Okay, here's the ship, here's the camera. We need to move it faster. Okay. Oh no, that's too far. Just keep it right there. Alright. Then once we get right here, let's make sure our ship catches up. This. Right there. Let's Let's make sure it catches up. And right there, it's probably here or up there. So let's go in and do a right side so we know exactly where our ship is. Here's the camera. Now here's the ship. So let's say from right here, we're gonna have the ship do this and come right there. There you go. And go up and just go straight. Now let's see what it looks like. Looks like we're having the ship do a full 360 back down, which is weird. Okay, it's right there. I don't want that. I want the ship to continue up. Oops. Yeah, continue up and don't do anything crazy. So let's go back to the top view so we can fix that really quick. That's what we wanted to do. So let's just do a quick look here. It's our ship, it's moving. All right, good, we're getting close, we like that. Let's make sure the ship doesn't hit that, and it didn't hit it, perfect. And now it's going up, and it's going up, which is fine. All right, there you go. So what I actually want to do at this moment too is probably have my camera move extremely quick in that section. So I'm going to close this out and I'm going to have my camera try to catch up with the ship. There you go, it's right there. But now I want to see what my camera is doing, because it looks like my camera is doing two different things too. So let's do a right view. Oh, press the wrong thing. One view here, two view, right view. Click on the camera. Let's make sure our camera is not doing double stuff. See, it could be doing double things and we don't want that. So let's just move back here and let's see what the camera is doing first, so we're not messing things up. So it's going like this, it's going like that. Oh, and it's turning, it has to turn right here. Oh, so see, it's going way too fast. So once we get here, camera. Okay, so it's cool if the camera is right there. Looks like the ship is actually going through it. So, all right. So let's back up through here. Let's make the ship go down. Okay. Let's make sure my points are right. So right there, I want the ship to go even further down. Now I want this point to have a good, there you go. Okay, so let's see what happens. So it's gonna come right there. No, it's fine. Let's make the ship go down. Right there. It passes through and we'll see it come up, but it's obvious that my camera is moving too fast now, and it's okay. I made a choice to do that and it's not going to work. So instead I'm going to revert it back to what it was. So I'm going to go top view, I'm going to click on my camera and I'm going to make it move back instead. Right, and I might even make it move back even more. go. Once we get here, let's make it 8. I want my camera to move way up there. Once we get here, make the camera go this way. Then we make it go all the way through. Whoops, wrong one. Alright, so let's just see how it looks. So here we go. We're right behind our ship. It's going straight. It's gonna go down. And is it hitting that part? Nope. Is it hitting that pole? Nope. Alright, and it's going down to not hit that. And now it's going up. It kicks in. The camera turns around. And the camera goes right between those. And boom. Once we get here, now what we want is to put the city in the back. So let's go and do that right now. Save. Let's go to our project and we're gonna bring some pictures in. Wherever you guys put your picture, make sure you bring it in. Mine is in the picture section. There it is. And now I'm gonna put this. Oh, okay, that's right. I was like, oh, what's going on? Put it in the back. There it is. Actually, not in the back. I'm gonna put it in the front. Let's see here. Okay, now let's click on that. Let's put it in the back. Okay, so what we want to do, let's make this picture larger. Click S for scale. I'd say go 115 and grab the center of the picture, and to make sure you're not moving the picture over the places, click shift, move it down. Now let's see what it looks like. Go. And what you can do, you can move the picture too if you want. I feel we need to move it because the screen is moving with the camera. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the picture down like this, and I'm gonna slowly move it up until we get right here. Until we get right here, this picture is gonna move up. So let's go and do a position, and let's keep this picture here. And once we'll bring it back about right there, and we're just gonna move the picture up. So click the center, shift, and just move it a little bit up just to see what it looks like. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so now the picture is moving. It's got a bit of realism. There you go, and there it is. Let's go and do one view so we can see it better. Okay, let's take it from the back. Let's move it forward. There we go. There we go. All right. We see the picture moving too, and that's what we want. Not too much, but just enough. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna go a little bit crazy on this. I'm gonna say I want to move the picture all the way up. Okay. So let's try that. Picture's down. We're going up. We're getting closer. Let's see if it looks real or if it doesn't look real or if it looks right. Does it look right? And I think it looks good, but it's a little too fake. So I'm gonna take it back down just a tiny bit, just like that, just like that. All right, and I think this way looks so much better, because when we come up, we want those buildings to be, those buildings in the background, we want them to be moving up too. So let's see. The camera is moving up, and they're moving up with the camera, If you go too fast, it doesn't look real anymore. And right here, the camera is just locked straight. So if those buildings in the back are still moving up, it doesn't look real either. So we just want them to slowly move up just like that, okay? Alright. Alright guys, let's recap pretty quick what we did in Adobe After Effects and Element 3D from Video Copilot. We were able to create a warp in After Effects and then bring a 3D ship from Video Copilot, and it looks something like this. At the 5-second, we have a ship coming through and it goes right through, which is pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. Now in scene 2, we were able to create a very cool scene here, and we have some asteroids all around the place, and the best part is when we zoom in, everything is in real 3D, and the only thing that is not in real 3D are the nebulas in the background. But as soon as we get here, we get close to our ship, and our ship switch to camera number 2, and we see another ship coming out of the main ship, and then we have camera number 3, and we see that ship going into the planet itself. Okay, very cool. And then it comes down to this last scene right here where you see that ship go into the city, and it's going right through some buildings, looking very cool like that, and up into our main section here, which is just a 2D flat image. That being said, everything can be created in After Effects and Element 3D. As a visual effects artist, these are very powerful tool on an affordable price, and I'm so happy I had the opportunity to show you guys these scenes. If you found my tutorials extremely helpful, you guys know what to do. Click a like on that video and also subscribe to my channel, guys. It really helps me to make more videos like that for you guys, and I already can't wait to show you guys more of my tutorials. Alright guys, that being said, you guys have all been part of the ZooPF Visual Effects channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.